news, current affairs, facts and opinion. Their future in our hands. Markets, globalist technocrats versus the people. A line in the sand. The McIntyre Report.
And welcome back, folks. McIntyre Report. Here we are, independent media. If you're sick of fake news media, whether it's in Australia, mainstream media, which has a hard time telling the truth, actually, if you want to know what's going on in the world, simply watch mainstream media, which is not mainstream. It's fake news, to know exactly what's going on, because whatever they're telling you, the exact opposite is usually the truth. That's the only benefit fake news mainstream media provides. Australia must realize that in Australia, it's one of the most fakest news of any news in any country, on anywhere on the planet. Australians are subjugated to such outrageous lies that most are confused and don't know the truth. And that's why they're able to be manipulated, controlled. Dumbed down Westerners is what they do. That's what fake news does. It makes people fake people. It makes them believe in fake narratives, to impress their fake friends on Facebook and support a fake democracy, all based on a fake currency or fake printing of money by fake Jewish imposters, the Rothschilds, who took over the Federal Reserve and made it fake. It's not federal. It has no reserves. So once you understand the world is pretty much fake, and you can figure out the truth quite quickly then. If you don't have time to be a geopolitical expert, independent journalist or citizen journalist, you can just watch some independent media and help you in the right direction. But outside of that, simply whatever they're telling you, it's the exact opposite. They told you Ukraine was winning the war against Russia. We told you at independent media, Australian National Review, that Russia would win that war. And Russia is winning that war. Ukraine's not going to win. We told you right up front, Iran will win the war against Israel. And now that's proven to be true. How did we know this? How do we know the truth up front? Because we know whatever they're telling you is the opposite. Plus, obviously, we do our studies and we bring that to you. Latest breaking news. Colombian president or former president, Gustavo Petro, says Israel rigged his election. It's quite likely. They're obviously trying to put their right faction Zionists in place around the world. They've got Argentina in Milei and now Colombia. They put their right faction president, in power. Benjamin Netanyahu's come out and says that for every 5 terrorists, he's killing 1 civilian, and that he should be praised by the entire world for it. Is this guy on drugs, or he's just naturally a psychopath? Maybe he was born that way. Is he so deluded? Like, who would say that? You're a moron, Netanyahu, and you're a war criminal. And I will see to it, anyone on this planet will see to it, that you are held to account. The great thing about Benjamin Netanyahu and his cabinet ministers, I think, is that it's the only people, the only fake state that could unite the world together against a common enemy. Thank you, Netanyahu, for bringing the world united against you. Okay, so what else is happening? Let's check this out. Erica Kirk says she's facing immediate assassination attempts on her life. Well, I think you should just shut up, Erica Kirk. No one cares for you. You're a puppet. You're a deep state. Therefore, no one's trying to assassinate you. Who would bother? And you're just trying to get some needed PR because TP USA, no one's watching the Charlie Kirk show anymore. No one is attending your conferences because Charlie Kirk outed and left the pro-Israel cause just before he was assassinated by Israel. And we know it's a fraud. So stop being a fraud. Erica Kirk, go away. Alan Greenspan, the long-term chairman of the Federal Reserve, has died at 100 years of age. Pentagon is requesting another $80 billion from Congress for Israel to cover the cost of Iran. Well, the White House announces will be posting Q today. Well, interesting. The ADL is warning the country that normalizing the word goy slop could lead to violence. Well, Jake TV is normalized the word goy slop and absolutely love it. We have to have a bit more Jake TV back on the show. They're doing a great job. Israeli TV commentators are claiming that Iran is influencing President Trump through low-frequency radio wave technology. Translate that, it probably means Israeli has some frequency radio wave technology that's able to manipulate people, for them to even say that. Dr. Anthony Fauci has been subpoenaed to testify for alleged crimes, according to Rand Paul. This could be great news. We'll find out more about that in coming days. retired U.S. generals, admirals, intelligence officials, diplomats, and former government officials who advised policy makers in the Middle East met with Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel, like 20 or 30 of them. Why? Benjamin Netanyahu isn't the president of the United States last time I checked. Or is he? Now, in Australian news, Gina Rinehart, worth $38 billion, the richest person and the richest woman in Australia, has got herself into a bit of bother by suggesting that we should give away some free land near Townsville to Israelis so they can create military drones, which we know what they're used for, is killing kids and innocent civilians in the Middle East. So can Israel go a day without dropping bombs on innocent people? Not that I know of. And Israel can go a day without pretending to be a victim by funding another terrorist attack around the world. I mean, no. Is Gina Rinehart compromised by Israel, controlled by Israel, or just got a lot of funding thanks to the banker wankers that control the Western financial system? So she's just like many people, brainwashed and knows it's good for business to be buddy-buddy with Israel. Well, we here at the Australian National Review, when we first launched as a newspaper in 2013, defended Gina Rinehart. She actually thanked me for defending her. We're one of the few publications when she was getting attacked by mainstream media, particularly globalist left-wing media, to actually defend her. I met Gina back in 2013. I had a photo with her as well. And she's obviously fond of Barnaby Joyce, former deputy prime minister, I actually ran against in the 2013 federal election. So I'm not here to be critical of Gina as a person. I thought she seemed to be a very wonderful lady that had good intentions for Australia. However, I must admit, Gina, I don't know who your PR people are or whether you have any, but suggesting giving away free land to Israelis of all people in Australia, near Townsville, to create military drones that kill people is got to be one of your less than ideal ideas. But here's my friend David Eggs, a constant contributor on the Australian National Review. Let's hear what he had to say about it.
So imagine this, right? You've got $38 billion. You're the richest person in the whole fucking country. And the best idea you can come up with is to make more war drones here in Australia to kill more people. Like there's not already enough death and suffering and carnage in the world right now. But this she wants more war drones on behalf of Israel to kill more people. You think she might have some other idea that could be noble or honorable or charitable for the sick or the poor or the indigenous or single mothers or homeless children? Anything. But that's her fucking go-to. More war drones for Israel. These people, there's only one conclusion you can come to. They're psychopaths, folks. Like, who wants to see more fucking war drones in a world already this That's the world we live in, folks. And these are the people with the power and the money. Just staggering.
Well, Dave's not holding back. Gina Rinehart is getting absolutely slaughtered on Twitter right now. And I've been one of the critics. As I said, I met Gina. We used to support her. And I'm not saying she's not a good person. I'm just saying she's deeply out of touch. And she seems to be compromised by Israel. Now, also Pauline Hanson. She's a funder of Pauline Hanson. She provides her private jet, or one of them, to use Pauline Hanson. And she wants Pauline Hanson to become the prime minister. But the concern about that, many people are now like, they're sick of the Labor. They hate Labor. They don't want to vote Labor. But Liberal's so weak, they don't want to vote Liberal. They're looking for an alternative. They want a nationalist leader. Now, Pauline could be a great nationalist leader. But the only problem is, what flag did she drape herself in at Canberra Parliament a little over a year ago? Wasn't the Australian flag, like a nationalist potential prime minister should do. It was, guess what nation? The fake state of Israel. One of the dumbest political stunts I've ever witnessed in Australian politics. And I think it'll be the ruination of Pauline. Many people will not vote for her. She thinks that she can get all the conservative voters to vote for her because she stands with Israel. Well, I would say this to Gina Rinehart and Pauline Hanson. Read the room. Gina Rinehart is often welcomed and attends Mar-a-Lago dinners, and is also an investor in SpaceX, $1.4 billion. I believe she just invested in SpaceX. She's also buying up Australian media. which is nothing wrong with it. You're entitled to do that. Australia's richest person, Gina Rinehart, has emerged as money behind former Kerry Stokes ally Bruce McWilliams near 10% stake. Southern Cross Media, the owner of Network 7 and Triple M. I mean, you can buy up media, and she tried to do it. She lost 60, 70 million buying into Channel 10 with James Packer and Lachlan Murdoch many years ago. But I just say to Gina, if you truly care for Australia, one, investigate Israel. Because anyone still standing with Israel, my prediction is, will end up being a modern-day leper, will stain their CV, and will regret it deeply. If you stand with a nation that genocides and bombs and kills innocent people and then pretends they're the victim and tells us it's not a genocide, and even has Pauline Hanson going, there's no genocide. I mean, come on, wake up, Pauline. Are you that dumb? I mean, you've done a lot of hard work. You've been a courageous woman. You've achieved massive political success beyond you probably what anyone expected, but you're going to lose on this issue of Israel. The writing's on the wall. Even Trump, now Gina Rinehart, I know you look up to Trump. Many people supported MAGA. Even Trump has turned against Israel. So anyone standing with Israel is going to look like an utter fool. The writing's on the wall. Dump Israel. Australia needs to dump Israel. America needs to dump Israel. The West needs to dump Israel and free itself from the slavery of the Rothschilds Western financial banking system, and then these useless wars. Otherwise, exactly what Gerard Rennick, who we think Australian National Review would make a great prime minister, because he's a nationalist leader and he's got the balls to call out Israel.
This is my thing with One Nation Pauline. She supports this foreign conflict overseas.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the old broken soldier in me, but I just don't want to see another generation of young men like myself go over and spend a bunch of time there. I just don't want to see us go over for another conflict, which they told us in Iraq it was for the weapons of mass destruction, but there were none.
Yeah.
In Afghanistan, we replaced the Taliban with the Taliban after 20 years.
Yeah.
And Libya is just a shithole.
And you've got Al-Qaeda in Syria.
And also as well, Trump told us that he'd destroyed their nuclear program not only 6 months ago.
Yeah, exactly. So why we're here?
He was destroyed.
And Al-Qaeda, the people that apparently flew planes into the World Trade Center, we're now, that's okay to run Syria, is it? That they're running Syria, and Jelani was in the White House with Trump not that long ago. You're sort of like, what is going on here? And why don't people question this stuff?
I think the US, they're a bit too in over their head in this one.
Deep state, not United States.
But
I like to distinguish between the two. I'm not convinced the American people want this either. I mean, my view is the bulk of MAGA voted for Trump because they wanted an end to these endless wars, not another intractable war. And this one will be messy if they go in boots on the ground.
I just can't believe the amount of people that, have never really seen combat before that want this.
Yeah. Look, I haven't been in your situation, but I come at it from a different way. I have travelled the world. Why would we want to go and kill people we've never met because, of what governments are up to? This killing is completely unnecessary. And anyone that wants to put killing and choose killing in front of peace and poverty in front of prosperity, we need to call them out. Because if we're not careful, these lunatics will send our children off the war to get killed. And my sons now are teenagers. They will destroy our prosperity, all in the name of an ideology that they've got into their heads that all Iranians are bad, so we must drop bombs on them.
They've just killed the Ayatollah, which is like the Pope.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of Shia Muslims, 300 million of them around the world, and they're all getting really pissed off.
Yeah.
And now they actually want to fight back.
Yeah, that's right. Whereas before they didn't. They were just minding their own business. So we wake up one day minding our own business, and then someone drops a bomb on your house. It's the reason why Jesus is still around after 2,000 years is because, you turn water into wine through lots of parties. That type of approach is much more permanent than killing people. We're all the same. We all want the same thing. We all want a roof over our head, food in the stomach, a better life for our children, and we want the government out of our lives. I'm just terrified at how quickly we are heading into this World War III scenario. And apologies if I sound dramatic here, but this is the risk. And we just need wise, cool heads at the moment. Our greatest defence is diplomacy, first and foremost. We've always got to try and find a diplomatic solution to everything, because the consequences of it going wrong are your dead mates, our dead children, and for what? So that we can make the bankers rich? Don't think so.
Well, that's you're hearing from Gerard Rennick, who we've had on the show several times, and I think Gerard is a good politician, one of the few, unfortunately, in Australia that are not complicit, are not representing, like Pauline Hanson, a foreign, fake, satanic state in Israel. Well, I'd say to Pauline Hanson, your job, if you want to become Prime Minister of Australia, is to represent Australia, not to have the lobbyists of Israel advising you, funding you, and funding your so obviously clearly Gina Rinehart, your biggest funder, is pro-Israel Zionist. People read the room. I don't care whether it's, of course, the left, many of them detest Israel or the right faction Israel, but half the right also detests them. The only people still supporting Israel are the brainwashed or psychopaths. So I'm going to put you in the category of the brainwashed, but there's so much evidence out there. If you're still standing with Israel, what the fuck is your problem? And I say that to any Australian. Wake up. Read the room. If you're on the side that drops bombs on kids and the only peace they want in the Middle East is pieces of kids' body parts blown across the Middle East, then I think you somehow lost the plot. You're somehow so far from a decent human being that you need to look in the mirror and slap yourself. Like, what is your problem? What about that don't you get is not God's chosen ones? What about Israel, created in 1948? Do you not understand? Is not biblical. What about the Rothschilds, the wanker, banker, pedo, elite, satanic Luciferians that don't even believe in God, that created and founded Israel? What about that? Why would you want to support a banker, wanker cartel that profits from war, that wants to run a one-world government, that manipulates and owns half the media? Why? Why? We'll be back with some more, folks, after this break. Maybe someone can ask Pauline to answer that question. Why should we, as Aussies, stand with Israel?
The McIntyre Report.
And welcome back here, folks, to Australian National Review. Follow all our 24-hour news headlines, anr.news. Follow myself on X, Jamie McIntyre 21. You can also follow me on truthbook.social. Truthbook.social is just growing organically, 5,000 to 10,000 new users a month joining, well over 105,000 users now, over 400,000 posts and growing. Truthbook.social is a truly independent news media platform, partly funded by the Australian National Review, but it's a not-for-profit. Go to truthbook.social right now. You can see it across the screen right there. And it's free to join an account. You'll find it's an incredibly great platform. You can say what you want. And free speech is allowed. It's not controlled like X or restricted or censored by the Israel lobby. You'll love that. Talking about Gina Rinehart here and how she's obviously funding Pauline Hanson, how many people are finding out and disgusted by it, that Pauline Hanson is controlled by Israel. They want a nationalist leader, not a fake state leader.
Oh, thank you so much, Pauline. More great news, Lady Gina. Your wealth is up 14% this year. Oh, marvellous. Gary, darling, what can I buy?
Yeah, infrastructure's a good idea. You could get a power grid.
Yes, buy some. Could you get some of those toll roads I'm hearing so much about? I hear they don't pay tax.
Yeah, could do. Do you want another train line as well?
Yes, please. Anything else?
Well, more houses is always a good idea.
Yes.
Airports? Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Speak up, Gary.
Slight issue. There are now 17 more billionaires in Australia.
And what? Gary, speak up.
Well, they're also looking for places to put their money.
So?
Well, they've bid up the prices.
Oh. Well, we can just up the rent we charge the public to use the infrastructure, can't we?
The public might not like that.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes, not quite fair to them, is it? Buy some more media outlets, yes. They can run some of those distractions. What is that called again? Oh, yes, it's news. yes, news.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this punter politics is right on the case. Let's hear for some more of what's going on. It's interesting, this story, but as follows.
So breaking news, President Trump has just threatened to murder all of the Iranian peace negotiators.
To the Iranians, saying they will close the Strait of Hormuz in response to Israeli strikes against Hezbollah in Lebanon. President Trump tells Fox News he spoke with Iranian officials overnight and said, you close it and you won't have a country. He went on to tell these officials, you won't even make it back to your effing country.
And you really have to wonder if this is the reason why. Take a listen.
There's a real deal between the Americans and the Iranians, and it's going towards that. Netanyahu will try to sabotage it. One of the ways he'd sabotage it is by putting out Epstein material against U.S. government officials, including Trump. New material that wasn't seen before.
So I guess we all know who the daddy in this relationship is.
Yes, that's a concern. It's promising that Trump is now pushing back against Israel. We did ask the question, is it just theater? I think it seems somewhat genuine now. I think there's a genuine dispute. I think no matter what your criticisms of Trump are, I don't support the left-wing Democrats just criticizing for everything. They shouldn't be criticizing him over the Iran deal. They should be going, hey, they should give him credit when credit's due. I know many of us supported MAGA on the conservative side of politics. I think most Australians are centre-right. Because we truly hoped to become a nationalist leader and save Israel to last. Then he lost a lot of support by being MAGA, not MAGA. But at least now he's doing what appears to be the right thing, pushing back and trying to get a peace deal. I mean, he prides himself on peace, not war. And I think he generally is affected by and seeing what Netanyahu does. Israel is just a war psychopathic nation. You know, they're just a bunch of fucking psychos. I mean, is that offensive to Jewish? Well, I don't know. If I have Scottish ancestry, and if the Scottish government was a bunch of psycho nutcases dropping bombs on kids in every country around it and then claiming to be the victims, would that be anti-Scottish to criticize them? Would I be offended if someone criticized them? No. So let's get over that whole Jewish anti-Semitic bullshit. I have plenty of Jewish friends and plenty of Jewish commentators on this show, and I guarantee you think I go hard against Israel. There's a lot of Jewish political commentators that go even harder. So it's not a Jewish issue. So let's not make it, oh, we hate Jews to criticize dropping bombs on kids. Bullshit. You know, I feel sorry for a lot of Jewish people. Actually, if I was Jewish, I'd change my religion. I could no longer be associated with Netanyahu and his nutcase cabinet. And it's pathetic.
Why did Netanyahu just tweet this? In a work meeting with the head of Mossad.
From Axios, top White House officials believe New York Times reporters Maggie Aberman and Jonathan Swamp obtained audio recordings of the Situation Room meetings for their new book. So my question is, where did they get this recording from?
The Israelis spy on the United States. They've always spied on the United States.
Do we spy on them also?
No. And that's written in stone at the CIA. We do not spy on Israel. But they openly spy on us.
So Clinton, right, with his Monica Lewinsky situation,
yes,
says Gordon Thomas, a Welsh journalist living in Dublin, claims that long before Kenneth Starr, he was the prosecutor on the Monica Lewinsky case, had ever heard of Monica Lewinsky, Israel's intelligence service was in possession of tapes containing 30 hours worth of intimate talk between President Clinton and his young intern. Thomas also asserts that Jerusalem was holding these tapes either for possible blackmail or to protect its mole in the White House, codename Mega. So like even before the Monica Lewinsky scandal broke,
they were already on them.
I think the Israelis are involved in leaking this transcript
For
to
sure.
these New York Times reporters. And then now they're putting it out in opportune time because
How they can blow up the peace deal.
Yeah, it certainly appears so. Pathetic. JFK had this to say. It's coming out, obviously, with Fauci, as we mentioned before, has to testify, could still face criminal charges.
Said publicly that I've been dishonest about that. Can you show us a single pre-licensing safety trial, placebo-controlled safety trial for any of the 72 vaccines required for American children? And he made that show of looking through a file, and he said, well, they're back in Bethesda. And I said, will you send them to me? And I never heard from him again, so we sued the HHS under the Freedom of Information Law. After a year of litigation, they sent us a letter which is posted on CHD's website that acknowledges that they are now not able to locate a single pre-licensing safety trial, placebo-controlled, for any of the vaccines that are now mandated for children. These are zero liability vaccines. I'm not anti-vaccine, but I think we need to be honest and we need to have good science. I spent 30 years trying to get mercury out of the fish in this country, and nobody ever called me anti-fish.
Yes, very good point. You got to give credit to JFK. Tulsi Gabbard's another good one that obviously left her post, I think, yesterday, and damn, dropped a lot of documents on Fauci. She's obviously frustrated he hasn't already been charged or jailed, but that still may happen. Robert Kennedy's another good person. Obviously, Israel is still trying to control him as much as they can, but at least he's still in there fighting. Obviously, I'm happy with Trump as well. Let's take a look at this.
Israeli Minister of National Security. Have you read this shit? Let me read it to you. For every terror of an Israeli mother, 1,000 Lebanese mothers must weep. All of Lebanon must burn. Our supreme duty is to protect the citizens of Israel and the soldiers of the IDF, and this commitment takes precedence over every other consideration. I told the Prime Minister, even in our private meetings, for every terror of an Israeli mother, 1,000 Lebanese must weep. Enough with the ping pong. In the Middle East, you don't win with measured responses and restraint. You need to go berserk, to obliterate, to crush the terror.
And you wonder why independent journalists, political commentators, everyday people like myself no longer stand with Israel, have awoken from the hypnosis that they've had most of Western society under, and think what they're doing is utterly disgusting. And all I will say once again, Pauline Hanson, Gina Rinehart, anyone, if you still stand with the state of Israel, it'll be the worst decision you ever made in your entire life, because you will become a modern day leper. You will have a permanently stained reputation, CV, resume, character reference. You deserve to be outed from society, exposed for standing with that.
Did you know that during 2021, while we were all locked down at home during COVID-19, that our government in the United States was paying researchers to investigate 2 of the 36 poisons that were found in all COVID patients, and they injected them into mammals and created within 72 hours glioblastoma tumors. Right. And then they were paid by our government to see if they could reverse glioblastoma tumor formation that they created in 3 days or less. And do you know what they dissolved within 72 hours glioblastoma tumors with? Nicotine. Did you know nicotine is a published cure for Parkinson's disease, MS, Alzheimer's, ulcerative colitis, all arthritises, all of them. Psoriatic, gout, osteo, rheumatoid. Did you know it's also a published cure? I already mentioned it, myocarditis. Did you know that autism traits? Yeah. They've already investigated nicotine patches between the shoulder blades of all children and adults, and within 7 days they see improvements in all their symptoms.
Very interesting. Good to see it's coming out. Very good doctor. Let's take a look at this.
So yesterday, Trump signs a peace deal with Iran, and today the mainstream media is like, we actually want more war.
How you characterize this kind of settlement other than the Iranians got what they wanted, the Americans didn't, and that's where we're going from here.
And then, Hagar, what does that mean for the Lebanese? Yeah, it's a disaster, actually, in so many ways. So Tom mentioned here that the Israelis are now being held back. And it sounds, a lot of people, it sounds like a ceasefire would be a good thing, right? Normally that sounds like something you'd want in Lebanon or anywhere. But the fact is that...
Yeah, normally ceasefire is, you think of that as a very good thing. But in this situation, we need to continue to blow up civilian apartments for what reason? Iran warns of the cancellation of all upcoming negotiations, reimposing the full Hormuz blockade and responding with missiles over the direct violation of the U.S.-Iran MOU's first clause, with Israel continuing military aggressions in southern Lebanon, including last night, despite explicit commitment from the first clause to end the war and guarantee Lebanese sovereignty. Our greatest enemy is not Iran, it's not Russia, it's not China. Our greatest enemy is Israel.
How do we rebut that? How do we argue against it? You can have the best PR in the world, which Israel used to have, and try and get people convinced it's not a genocide. Oh, we're the victims. Oh, deflect us back to a supposed 6 million Jews we got. Oh, it's horrible. They can do all the PR, deflecting, distracting, magicians' tricks. But whenever they continue their behavior of murdering people, of funding Islamic extremist terrorist groups, most people don't even know Hamas was created by Israel, still funded by Israel. Why? Who was behind October 7th if it wasn't Israel? September 11th wasn't Israel. Bali bombings, London bombings wasn't Israel. Port Arthur massacre, Bondi massacre, Christchurch massacre. Find me a major globalist terrorist attack or massacre on the planet, and I will show you that Israel's closely behind it. But people just don't want to understand. Many don't realize that. The Bondi massacre. Who do you think did it? It was so obvious. The dumbed down Westerners are like, must have been those Islamic terrorists. Islamic terrorists are created, funded, and recruited. Who created ISIS? Notice how ISIS never attacked Israel. Strange. They meant to hate Israel, aren't they? ISIS are a proxy army of Israel, used to take over Syria, Iraq, etc. But you'll only know that if you bother to check out the facts or follow independent media. If you believe Israeli-funded Western propaganda media, whether it's left faction or right faction, or you get in Australia as left faction media or right faction media, left faction government, Labor, right faction liberals. If you follow what they say in the media, then you're never going to know the truth. Fake people believe fake news. Don't be fake. Tell your friends, stop being fake. It's pathetic.
The reason why Israel hates Dan Bilzerian so much is because he's breaking the taboos. He's making it okay to question, to say things that normally would never have been said, and he removes people's politeness to these genocidal maniacs who have just kind of hijacked our government, and there's no need to be polite anymore. So he's breaking all these taboos. He questions the 6 million number from World War II. He talks about the Holodomor and the Bolsheviks. He's changing the dialogue. They hate him. They're scared of him. They try to bring him on TMZ to sabotage him and sink him. It only made him stronger.
To be honest with you, we need people like Dan.
Definitely do.
Yeah, Dan is speaking out. I think he won Anti-Semite of the Year awards. Dan's doing a good job. Like he's doing something useful with his life. So you got to give him credit. He's got balls. He's also running for Congress. Andrew Tate, another influencer, hasn't been quiet.
Got bad news for all you people who care about your country. The reason your country is enslaved is because most people deserve to be slaves, and you're surrounded by retards, and everyone else inside your country who's getting screwed over just as badly as you with the taxes and the immigration and all those terrible things that are happening, the breaking down infrastructure, all those bad things, literally just deserve it, and they suck. There's nothing you can do about it. And you tweet all day online, and you think that, because you're tweeting and other people read your tweets that you're getting somewhere, but you're not, because then a new series of Love Island comes out. That's what they talk about. They don't talk about the Epstein files or the rape gangs. They don't care about that. They don't care about the fact that 50% of the GDP is being stolen. They don't care about any of these things. On Twitter, you see a few people complain a little bit, these wars blowing up these countries for no reason, wasting billions of dollars. But when you leave Twitter and you talk to people on the ground, they're like, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Love Island's on. So the reason country is being completely raped is because the people inside of the country, by and large, are fucking retards. And you're surrounded by retards, and that's not going to change, and it's never going to get any better at all. So it's bad news for anyone who gives a shit about anything. You may as well just get as rich as possible, because everyone's fucking stupid. And then, women have opinions, and women talk, and then
you know, everything's fucked. But of course you're not allowed to say that because women are people. The rape gang inquiry came out, and when I ask anybody anything about it off of the internet, they're just like, yeah, I think I heard something. Within 2 minutes, they're talking about the World Cup. If you expect anything to get any better ever, you're gonna be very disappointed. It doesn't matter how many retweets, it's like, none of it matters. You can retweet all day, you can get likes all day, none of it matters. The best thing you can do is get as rich as possible and just avoid other people.
That's Andrew Tate. He's obviously very controversial, has a big influence, but he probably has a big influence. He speaks a lot of truth, and you know, it's interesting what can be done. Most people have got to accept responsibility for why the world is the way it is. How these psychopaths can get away with it is because they can dumb down Westerns. They can just feed with propaganda, so much fake news. People don't know what the truth is. Like in Australia right now, is it not true? How many people are confused? How many people are going to support one nation not knowing one nation is funded by Israel, is a pro-Zionist party? Israel controls the left faction, Zionism, and right faction. They always have. You don't have democracy in the West. You have the illusion of democracy. The BRICS have a closer resemblance of democracy. We're told China's communist, Russia's, we're still told Russia's communist, it's a joke. Iran is evil. Indonesia is a third world. You know, all these countries, what they do have is a nationalist leader. They might not be perfect, but it's hard to say China is not a more effective system than us. The idea that China's communism is also a joke. China's just smart. They have private ownership. Nothing to do with communism, by the way, but they just cloak it in communism. Aren't China smart enough to go, well, how do we keep the left and the right happy? The left is often more socialist or communistic. So how about we have a capitalist system that gets people out of poverty, keeps the right happy, the right side of politics typically, that will support that. But we just cloak it in communism, even though it's nothing to do with communism, but we'll call it communism because that will keep the left happy. Maybe China's figured out how to get the political success and maintain a nationalist leader by keeping both parties happy, by providing a system that works on private ownership and capitalism, but with some state control. But calling it communism to keep the left happy. So the left think, oh, it's communist, right? China's communist, so we'll vote for it. You know, they still do have elections for politicians, even have one party. So I'm not advocating China's perfect system. It's not. We just have to accept China's building roads, bridges, infrastructure across its nation and around the world. Israel-led America and the West is dropping bombs in every little fucker they can drop bombs on. And unfortunately, kids, innocent civilians, but they might grow up to be terrorists and throw pebbles at Israeli army tanks or look up at the sky as they're being blown to pieces by an Apache helicopter like Israelis were on the rave. But that was, of course, Hamas did that. But strange, Hamas doesn't have Apache helicopters or army tanks. How did those Israelis die from attacks in their houses blown up by Israeli army tanks or cars fried by Apache helicopters if Hamas doesn't have any of those? No one bothered to ask those questions. How'd they magically walk across the border on October 7th? How'd the paragliders come across and not be shot down? How come their border guards were missing? People don't like asking the tough questions because it's easier just to go back watching the World Cup, right? And believing the bullshit on Australian media and Western media. That's all we have time for this episode, folks. But if you want to find out more about what's happening in the world and know ahead of time, tune in to the McIntyre Report here on Australian National Review. That's independent, not-for-profit media. We don't have any other agenda other than the truth. You may not like what we have to say at times because the truth is generally not that popular. That's why people prefer fake news. Keeps them in their little comfort zone of their fake life. So they can keep on impressing their fake friends because they ever start to speak the truth, their fake friends would not be their friends anymore. And people need to be loved. So they'll do whatever it takes to fit in. They'll even take a jab. They'll even post, I stand with Ukraine. Remember those days? People would do whatever. They're so easily manipulated because they're weak-minded. Why are they weak-minded? They weren't born that way. They become that way. Relentless false narratives and fake news on anyone will eventually confuse them and make them uncertain. And like in Australia, how many people confused are against mass immigration, but they're going to elect one nation who's funded by Israel, who's behind the mass immigration around the West. Can you believe that? I mean, it's just like absurd, right? that will support the very people who are actually flooding Australia with immigration, not knowing that Israel is the one that's doing it to you, to divide, to conquer you. It's called the clergy plan. You should know that already. You probably do. Now, we'll be back next week with some more here at Australian National Review and the McIntyre Report. Till then, take care.